everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, I'm going to talk about some additional bags we've been making. A couple of weekends ago, I posted a bag that I started off with to make a perfectly sized Vespa bag, but they sent me a whole bunch of extra materials, so I didn't realize I had ordered that much. And of course, that made us experiment with some additional bags, and let me show you how they turned out.
Now again, not a lot of risk in all of these experiments because I ordered some very inexpensive materials online, and again they sent me a double order and didn't want it back. So I'm playing around with some inexpensive materials for shape and functionality, and if I love the output, I will create a beautiful finished piece. Now let's look at bag A. This one, again, like the others, are all using the same bases, and it worked out perfectly, but this one is definitely not a positive experiment. So like all of the other bases I was doing, I single crocheted twice in each corner, and then because this had a thinner sort of 2mm yarn or cord, I was actually able to play around with some stitches just to see again, do I like different stitch combinations. Now for the much larger dollar store paracord experiments, I just did straight up single crochet because that's a difficult cord to work with. Some of these smaller, thinner cords were really stiff and some were actually readily pliable. So there was a huge variability between it, and the stiffness did make it difficult to work with. So on this bag, I'm basically alternating for most of the bag, half double crochet, slip stitch combination. But I thought, again, I'd do 10 single crochets up the middle of each side. Again, thinking forward in the future, color, pattern, stitch combinations. Do I kind of like the texture change this gives me? And this bag, I ran out of enough cord, so let's touch upon cord 2 and then I'll come back and talk about which ones I preferred and liked. Like the others, it has a double stitch at each corner, but for this popcorn version, we definitely need to have an even number of stitches going around because I'm alternating a 5 double crochet popcorn stitch with a single crochet as we go around. So you do need to consider having the right number of stitches in order to fit those. So think in multiples of 4 as you're thinking this style of bag. And this one we're going to change directions to get these popcorns to pop out. So important again to mark the beginning of your row because you will need to kind of think about alternating and creating the right kind of combination of puff stitches. So again, if you are used to a puff or a bobble stitch, this one was pretty straightforward. It was difficult to work with. This yarn or cord wasn't very pliable, and the only trick is when you're doing the single crochets to go through both loops. And when I was doing the back double or the 5 popcorn stitch, doing it through both loops didn't give it the right effect. So you do have to do these 5 double crochets for each popcorn stitch in back loop only. Because you're chaining and turning at the end of each row, you're then able to kind of stack this popcorn stitch effect or this kind of 5 fan effect to give you this kind of textured interest for the piece. So if you continue working on the round in the same direction, you won't get the alternating pattern of the popcorn stitches. So that's just something to factor in. Now again, this cord, I frogged it a little bit when I made a couple of mistakes. It was very pliable after it was frogged. It was just really difficult to work with as a stiff kind of untextured cord. And as I look at the pictures, I'm not sure what you think about this kind of image on the screen, but it doesn't have a luxurious or kind of adult sort of style to the cord. Again, I'd be hard now to shop for cords unless I can see them in person, because with the bag I ended up loving the popcorn texture, but it's definitely like yarn wanting to sort of see the cords. Some of them looked really cheap and sort of very dollar store-ish, and other ones I think would make a lovely kind of adult version of this bag. So again, the finish on the cord, the texture of a cord is all going to kind of make or break the bag. No surprise, just like yarn. On this one, I worked it up 9 or 10 rows, I would suggest, as a minimum. And then what I did was I single crocheted in every second stitch initially, just around the trim, and then did a couple of rows of single crochet to finish it off. And just as I was single crocheting, added in some D-rings that I had in stock. Now, I was looking for a handle that would kind of give the same kind of texture interest. Again, this is a Romanian cord handle, so it's not going to stretch like some of the other cords that I have tried. And it did give me a little bit of interest. Again, I didn't have enough of the same color to finish the cord, so I was just using up some stash. It gave it a little bit of a wonky look. But I do think this bag has potential. So this one's going to make some little girl very happy because I think it did work out beautifully. And I like the interesting texture on the bag. So no surprise, I think if I'm going to make one for an adult version for me or for a gift, this one definitely has potential. It's something unusual. I can see that it's very practical, but I would again spend a little bit more to get materials that are really going to make this kind of idea shine. Now, as I said, I did Romanian cord and D-rings, but this one would be very easy to add a magnetic clip. You can also easily add a zipper because you've got the single crochet trim on this bag version. So I think there's lots of options to customize it and make it very functional. Now I ran out of cord to finish off the first bag, so I just did finish it up so I could see how it looked, but it is going to get frogged because I didn't really like the outcome. Now this is another bag I showed in an earlier video, which I loved the shape of, but it's stretched out. So again, I'm pretty comfortable frogging. This one I mentioned earlier in the year I was going to repurpose, and I frogged it out and made this great outdoor couch kind of organizer that goes over the arm, and I'm not losing phones or iPads or sunglasses. So this has been a great kind of repurposing, and let me know if you have any ideas about repurposing lots of bag cords, because now I have a stash for that as well. So this project gets a pass, and the popcorn bag with a nicer cord material gets a pass. I did a lot of shorts over the summer as well on some smaller experiments, and so let me just sum those up and give you an idea of whether or not they get a thumbs up and made the potential kind of list or an absolute fail and they're getting frogged out as well. So again, I did an earlier short on a tote made out of this paracord bag. I think I've spent in total $12 at the dollar store on all the materials for it. And it was one of the nicest cords out of all the cords we ordered online or got from different locations. So this one I am giving a pass. I think it has potential to make a great tote bag. This would lug bricks. It was really difficult to work with, so something that you just need to be slow and kind of take your time on. The other reason I'm just popping this in for a review is this cord came in like thinner sort of thicknesses. Again, it also said 3 millimeters, but it definitely was quite a bit thinner than this cord. Again, found them in the hardware aisle. And we used an olive solid color, and I think this also would make some fabulous baskets for, you know, inside the house. So I'm just flagging that if you're not interested in a tote, there are some really kind of exceptional materials out there, and was sort of a very durable cord that I think could make some great home accessories, baskets, things like that as well. So it didn't make a great tote for me. It was a little stiff. Again, all the little girls are very happy with all of their purses, and it was a fun project to work on. But I would definitely come back to this paracord and look at it if I was making sort of, again, a big blanket box or a basket for something in the house. Also would make things like eyeglass cases, things that are, again, really super, durable, great gift ideas. So I think this cord has some potential. The bag wasn't horrible. It worked up really, really well. And so again, if I got it in the right color, I would just buy more of it because, again, like most of the bags, I did not quite have enough to do a proper size tote. Now, the very inexpensive hemp cotton that I bought for my Vespa bag, again, a first experiment, was the nicest by far of all of the materials. So this absolutely gets my thumbs up as a reorder. Again, I found it labeled macrame. It was hemp. It says 100% cotton on the label. And regardless of the colors, it was worth a reorder and is something I will go now and make some lovely bags with. The other thing that we will pop in, just because we've been doing them too, is we got requests this year for child size hats. And so again, if you have hat patterns that are great for hats, we do donation hats all throughout the year. Please do leave some in our comments with links or information. I was testing much teeny weeny smaller hats as we were making up some batches of donation hats. I have some of my favorite patterns that you'll find on the channel that I use up all the time. They're great for stash experiments, but I'd be interested if you had some sizes for children. And in particular, I don't know why we got lots of requests for summer versus fall or winter hats.
Thanks everyone for watching, and give us a thumbs up or thumbs down to have some helpful feedback on whether or not you like the videos. Thanks if you've subscribed to the channel as well and helped us grow as we try and support some great charities. And you can also click the notification bell. It will let you know when we upload a new video. Enjoy.